Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Gunter, Texas, to be held on October 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Gunter Public Safety Building located at 105 North 4th Street, Gunter, Texas, at which time the following will be discussed and considered. We'll first start with, well, I'll call to order. We do have a quorum for the 7 of us. We'll start with the invocation and pledge. I'll offer that. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this opportunity to be able to gather as a community and as a quorum within the Planning and Zoning Commission. Lord, we ask you to please be with us as we review these items tonight, that we'll do what's best for the community. We're grateful for those who serve. We ask you to please bless and watch over their families. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay, next we will start with citizen comments. Again, everyone knows the typical protocol. Get 2 minutes. If you'll stand up and state your name and your address, I'll give you a little wink or a wave if you've got 10, 15 seconds left. And we'll start with Miss Jeannie.
I have 2 minutes.
I'm Don Anderson, and I'm giving my 2 minutes to her.
Awesome.
Hi, P&Z. I'm glad to see you guys here. But just to let you know that my comments are about items 1 and 2. And review the documentation that was presented. I identified that the clad IDs are not correct IDs. The ones presented are geographical IDs. The correct ID is 151867, 151871. That's the first problem. In our current city zoning map, we have 2 acre zone for 2-family residents at present. One of the buildings is at 4th and Mesquite, as you may know. The other in Cedar. The other is over behind the bank off of Archery. Now, Oak Street is not in either of these areas. Therefore, this change would change our downtown plan as well as affect the old city plat. Has anyone reviewed these documents? And review the current documents stating that they are in compliance with the current zoning. The documentation doesn't state anything about duplexes for this size of residence. Our orders 2019-11-2103 states a requirement for a minimum size to be 1,300 square feet. That's in attachment 14A. But the continuing on 14A, attachment 1-2, item G states no lot containing multiple family units less than 900 square feet or the total of 1,500 square feet per dwelling, whichever is greater. Has this information been provided? If so, when? Continuing in I in the same ordinance, if the side rear yard is adjacent to a single-family home, there shall be a 25-foot setback and a 60-foot setback for the adjacent property line. Also, if more than one building is located on the same property lines, on the same lot, on the same lot, they should be a 10 feet separation between the buildings without windows and 15 with openings. When buildings exceed 1 story, each building shall be constructed in accordance with the existing building and fire codes. Has any of the above information been taken into consideration in review of this proposed plan? please understand, I like the idea of two-family homes. I just want to make sure that we're following the state laws and city ordinance. And Noah is doing his due diligence for each transaction. This I do not see. If this information is taken into consideration for this item, this applies to the agenda items 1 and 2. If so, 4 and 5 will not be required for tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Cheney. Thank you, John. Next up, Jerry.
So it's Jerry Perry, 1081 Pike Road. I just want to real briefly say on the rezoning for these two-family home duplexes. I think this is a great idea. This downtown really needs revitalization greatly. As we know, this pretty much this whole backside over here is just really big, a pretty big blight and pretty big unsightly mess. I love the idea that Clive Smith is coming in and looking to actually make this look better. He's done a great job with what's going on at the Meadows so far. I'm real happy with all that. I think this is a great thing. I'm all for it. Thanks.
Next up, Ashley.
Hi, my name is Ashley Hawkins. I live at 1650 McConnell Road. I just wanted to thank P&Z from the last meeting in regards to Miss Emily voicing and listening to all the citizens when it came time to. I know that was a really hard decision to kind of speak out against, especially your first night. But you killed it, and the citizens support you, so thank you for that. I did want to tell Ken Boyd thank you again. He's not here. But more importantly, I did want to, what was I going to ask you guys? Oh yes, have you guys by any chance received from the request that was made back in July, the itemized materials that you guys requested from Mr. Noah and the BNSF? If so, I hope that is presented to you guys. And if it hasn't, I'm a little discouraged as to why they have not gone forward to keep you guys updated and informed with that. Thank you.
Thank you. And John Todd.
Good evening. My name is John Todd. I live at 2004 Fox Bend Trace in the Bridges. I've been exchanging emails back and forth with Brock today. So can I hold my questions until number 7 is on the agenda?
You have the 2 minutes here as citizen comments, but yes, for agenda item number 7, did you sign up for number 7?
No, I love the sheets, but I can write it down.
Yeah, there wasn't a sheet back there for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold it to that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. That concludes citizen comments. Next up, we'll have our director's report. Turn time over to Mr. Noah-Collis.
Excuse me,
Yes.
aren't you, since,
No, that's.
oh, I'm sorry,
No problem.
never mind.
So I was just gonna give you a brief, first of all, there has been not any movement on UNSF, so I don't have any information for you on that. And then just, we have been holding pre-development meetings every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and, we've got some interesting commercial projects coming in. Can't show them what they are yet now. They haven't actually applied for anything yet.
Sure.
But that's coming along, and glad you're all here this evening. That's all I got on director's report tonight.
Awesome, thank you. Next up, minutes. Do I have a motion on minutes from last meeting?
I read them, I motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I wasn't here, can I second it? I'll second it.
Okay, Kent, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, we'll move on to our regular agenda items. First up will be agenda item number 1, public hearing, which we will open at 6:11. Public comments to hear regarding rezone of 8 lots from the Townhouse District TH to the 2-family TF District in order to develop 3 duplexes for Fraser Capital located on West Oak Street. Grayson Cat ID 5850031 and 585003103. James Cornell Survey, Abstract 217, Grayson County, Texas. Anyone like to speak on that?
May I go back?
Yeah, public hearing.
Okay. I believe I've already spoke on this, but Jerry made a good point, and I'd like to expand on it. Thank you for what you're doing in the meadows. We appreciate that. And we do appreciate that you're trying to make it better for Gunter. My only thing is I just want to make sure that it's done legally.
Amen.
So, with that said, good luck. So.
Thank you, Jeannie. Anyone else like to speak on this item? Okay, we'll close agenda item number 1 at 6:12. And move on to agenda item number 2.
Mr. Chairman, did you want a presentation on item number 1?
We'll do the number 4.
I would do it in the action.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not the.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
Okay, yeah, agenda item number 2 to hear, which we will open at 6:13. To hear public comments regarding replat of 8 lots into 3 in order to build 3 duplex units for Fraser Capital located on West Oak Street, Grayson Cat ID 5850031 and 585003103. James Cornell Survey, Abstract 217, Grayson County, Texas. Any comments on agenda item number 2?
I've already spoken.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, we will close agenda item number 2 at 6:13. Agenda item number 3, we will open at 6:13. To hear public comments regarding replat of 2 lots into 1 lot in order to create space to build a fitness center located at 201 South Main Street, Grayson Cat ID 152001, L. Curley Survey, Abstract 1414, Grayson County, Texas, John Carter. And I'll open that up. Anybody like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
In review of the plat 152001 for Grayson County Appraisal webpage, it looks like lots 5 and 6 have already been single platted under the ID of 152001. If this is correct, why do we have to replat? First question. The documentation states that Gunter enacted that this property is in the thoroughfare district. It's stated also in this documentation. This district was established to create an attractive, highly intensity corridor composed primarily of office, retail, limited light industries, and commercial use. To protect the integrity of the thoroughfare, minimum lot sizes will be large. Setback requirements will be greater, and more stringent access restrictions will be imposed in the thoroughfare district than any other commercial or industrial. You'll have an increased water, sewer, drainage. You'll have increased fire protection to accommodate the higher intensity. The thoroughfare district is an overlay district, meaning that the regulations within this district are in addition to the basic district that is being overlaid. What does this mean? It means that you have increased requirements for your property. When these requirements are considered when reviewing the documents, did you tell Mr. Carter that he can submit a special use permit that would help him with his planning for placement of the property, and that the property will be zoned C1 for light retail? Since this request is for a fitness center, which is not identified in our zoning ordinance, which can be cured with an update to the ordinance, Agenda item 6 should be tabled for a later date. The city is looking forward to having a fitness center with the required updates to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak on agenda item number 3?
Don Anderson, 102 Falls Creek Lane. In reference to what she said, what she didn't say also is that if he builds in that thoroughfare center, then that road, the main road, gets widened, then it would be the city's responsibility to pay for everything that has to be corrected to make certain that his unit is out of the thoroughfare. That's the importance of the thoroughfare part. Because if we didn't do our due diligence and make certain that it wasn't set up to begin with correctly, then it's our fault, our responsibility.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll close at 6:17. All right, we will now move on to agenda item number 4. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on rezone of 8 lots from the townhouses district TH to the 2-family TF district in order to develop 3 duplexes for Fraser Capital located on West Oak Street, Grayson CAD ID 5850031, 585003103, James Cornell Survey, Abstract 217, Grayson County, Texas. Mr. McCullough, do you have a presentation on this?
I do, and I'd like to add that the applicant is here tonight. He also has an additional presentation.
Wonderful. So we'll hear from you first and then the applicant.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll look at the location map first. This property is located near Oak, southwest corner of Oak Street, 4th Street. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Moving on to the aerial photo, we show the property is currently vacant. The applicant intends who's also, as shown on the agenda, is also requesting a replat of 8 lots to 6 lots. And then would plan, if approved, would plan to build 3 duplex units, each with a garage unit. We do have a site plan identifying the proposed site plan, that is, and then also a rendering of what the applicant's proposing. It would be connected, both units would be connected with a garage, 2 garages. That's not specifically, that would be the color, but that is just a rendering that the applicant has provided. Property was posted, letters were sent. We did put a notice in the paper as well. Staff recommends approval of the rezone of the property from the townhouse residential district to the 2-family duplex district. This is an older area, and rezoning it and building new would also save the property from blight and also improve property values in the area. This concludes staff report. At this time, I will switch presentations. And I'll turn the time over to Cleveland Smith or his representatives.
I've been trying to get my son to do it all day. He won't do it. I think he knows something I don't know. No, thanks, Noah, and thank you, P&Z members. Just a couple of things about who we are, for those who don't know us. How are you doing? We're a 5th-generation building and development company. Jeff is our middle son. There's 4 of us, dad and 3 sons. There's got to be a story there somewhere. But the family named Fraser started up in Arkansas and Springdale back in the late 1800s with a home. And that transition through the years has come to us, and we're actually now looking at some grandchildren to take it to the 6th generation, which is exciting for this fella. And we have done a lot of work, single-family construction, land development, commercial development, real estate acquisitions. We've tried to keep this in the family for over 75 years. Jeff and his two brothers, Trey and Stephen, founded a home building company in 2005 named Brother Tree Homes, and that entity will actually be doing the land, be building the homes, these duplexes. Jeff has worked for, I don't know how many home builders, but his resume is at least 2,000 homes. We talk about that. He thinks it's more like 100 or 200, but it's quite a bit more. Ever since he graduated from ORU, this is all he's done, is build homes. And so, and then I do the land development side of it. And we were all learning. I'm learning his side and they're learning our side. The team that we put together for this duplex project is on the next slide. Jeff, we have two companies. One is Fraser Fine Homes, and then Brother Tree Homes. He will be the builder. Jay Wanis is an architect out of Plano that we've worked with since 2005, and he'll be designing the final elevation footprint for the residences. Warren Korn, who has done most of our lot and land development through my career, is performing the off-site public utilities work. Joe Grubbs is our landscape architect, and Trey Smith, Jeff's older brother, operates a landscape company that does HOA and landscape design and what have you. So we'll be working with Trey, put the perimeter landscape in. We're sensitive to that because of your new ordinance, and it is detailed. So we want to make sure that we do a good job with that. I just want you to know that we try and build with a purpose. This may be a little mundane, but it's not. We want to improve the quality of life. We want to design and build with a lasting value. And we want to honor relationships at the city, the people of Gunter, and future residents who might be moving into some of these homes with everything that we do. And that is our heart condition. You know, there's a lot going on television these days, and I heard a guy say something that resonated with me. He said, you know, we're not judging anybody by their color or their affiliation or their thoughts. It's what is their heart condition. And so that's where we are. And that's where I know everyone is in the city of Gunter that we have met. Jeff is a resident here, and so our desire is to do it well and do it right and have a meaningful purpose. You've seen the aerial with the site location, and you've seen the plat, that is the replat. These are 66 on the average with lots that are 145 feet deep. That's a big lot for a duplex. And I will tell you that we've gone back and forth about whether to stick with the townhome zoning or to go to duplex or to do a single family residence, which is allowable in that in the townhome zoning. But we just kept coming back to what the market is giving us, and in our meetings with and our conversations with people around town, we know that people need a place to live, they need to be able to afford it, and they need it now. And we just think that the duplex meets that need quickly. It's different from a townhome product in that it's a home. It's just, I'm not knocking the townhomes. We build them. In fact, Jeff built a whole lot of those critters. But it's, to me and to our family, a duplex is more of a residential product, and that's what we think is best for this area. We may be wrong, but that's what we think after talking to a lot of folks about it. This elevation, it is darn hard to find elevations on townhomes. I mean, on duplexes. And misspoke there, I apologize. But what we want you to see on this elevation that met some criteria that Jess has for what he wants to build is the The units are joined at the garages, and there's a single driveway that is common. The doors are placed where we wanted to see them, the arches, the slope of the roof, the color, the presentation has a good feel to it. So we hope that you agree with that, and that's what we'll be designing starting after the next week's hearing, if we're successful with what this is. And so just quickly, our vision is always develop or build with comfort, warmth, and peace in mind, and that it is lasting for the people who move into it. We have an experienced team. The team knows how to design these units, knows how to put the product on the lot, design the lot, create the environment. It creates this, what we want to see, comfort, warmth, and peace, and a lasting value. And I am here to answer any questions that anybody has. Yes, ma'am?
What is the height?
The height?
Height.
I am 5'11".
So,
But this hip is trying to make me shorter.
What's the elevation height on that?
Well, it's not designed yet, but got an idea?
Roughly 30 foot.
Well, let's make sure it's
39
within
is
the
what
guidelines.
our codes are. So, you're within that, that's fine.
Yes, sir.
Will they be two-story?
Yes.
Okay.
and there's gonna be 3, total of 6
Yes.
individuals.
3 lots, 2 units per lot, total 6 units.
Okay. Will you be following the items that I mentioned for the setbacks and all of that?
Whatever's right, that's what we'll do.
That's right, what I promoted.
That's their job.
What's that saying? Whatever's right.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation.
You bet.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you.
And again, I love that you guys come out and are participating in the community and in the P&Z meetings. We now have this time here for us as a P&Z to review agenda item number 4, remind the quorum that we can ask questions to the applicant, to Mr. Noah, and a friendly reminder to our lovely community members that at this time, we've got to now converse amongst ourselves. Okay, any questions, comments on agenda item
Yeah,
number 4?
put a picture of the overhead back up, if you would, please, Noah.
You want to see the elevation? Or the?
No, the overhead.
The aerial.
Aerial, I'm sorry. When I go by there today to look at it, there's quite a large thoroughfare along that, going to north-south. And so, what is that thoroughfare? Do you have any idea what that is?
Are you talking about like a planned right of way,
Well,
like a county thoroughfare plan?
It's just a long gap there, and the way it's maintained, it's not maintained, it looks like, by the property owners.
Oh, okay, so
Over
heading towards the west.
Going north-south.
Okay,
Yeah, the north-south,
that's 4th Street.
or would have been 4th Street, right? Okay,
Are you talking about that runs along the railroad?
yes.
That's Third. Is that technically Third Street? That's
Yeah,
not
it's
area?
Third Street. Stops just now.
So it stops,
Yeah, there's
that
not,
confused me too, I was trying to.
yeah, there's not a road there, so I'm just trying to make sure that where we're at on that we don't give up some land down the road.
Yeah, the applicant, what I've talked to the applicant about is they would probably put a T, or probably a T instead of, or hammerhead as we call it, instead of a cul-de-sac for fire trucks to be able to turn around if they have to respond to an incident out there.
Okay. But who owns that thoroughfare? The city does?
The city does.
Okay. We should make sure that we're good on that.
And I could be wrong, but I recall that would be part of that downtown plan, that road then becomes accessible.
Yeah, that's what I want to make sure that there's,
But again, city owns it, so they have the ability.
all right?
This is specifically part of the area that, what was it, 2 years ago when they came out, the whole downtown master plan? Does it negatively or does it positively impact that downtown master plan at all, or does it alter anything?
It doesn't, I mean, this is still a residential
Sure.
area, so it wouldn't be commercial or whatnot. It would enhance that, it would support that. Now, the applicant's proposing to change the zoning, but it's not, I mean, you're actually going from townhomes to duplexes, so actually you're decreasing the density. So you're having less density between those two zoning districts.
Just to note, again, a comment made by our wonderful Jeannie, that yes, it will be done right in regards to within guidelines, within what's put forth by the city for the height, for the width, for the lots, between the lots. All of that will have to go through and be approved by us for a final plat, this being preliminary.
This is just a replat.
Yeah.
But when they come in, if this is approved, 'cause if it was approved, it'd go to council next week. And let's say it's approved, they would have to apply for a building permit. This is a rezone portion. But they would still have to meet our adopted building codes, fire codes, setbacks, for that zoning district. Yes, sir. And building heights.
Someone have any questions?
Is the alley is there already an alley there? Like I see on here, it says alley. So I'm just wondering,
It's your typical grass alley,
okay, so it's
downtown
just
grass.
the space between. I was just wondering, was it gonna, with the garages in the front? What?
Right, yeah, it'll be front.
It's not gonna be a back alley, obviously, right?
We wanted to have a bigger backyard.
Yeah.
And you do plan to fence it?
I don't know if it matters, will they be rental properties or will they be sold? I mean, I guess that doesn't matter to what we're doing, but just
Most likely rental.
out of curiosity.
Well, it's, market will dictate
Yeah,
that, so.
There's not much for us to compare. So we're kind of winging it,
yeah. Good luck.
one of those things.
Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Do I have a motion on agenda item number 4?
I'll motion to approve it.
Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
4-0.
Thank you.
And I will forward that recommendation to the council next week.
Thank you. Agenda item number 5, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on replat of 8 lots into 3 in order to build 3 duplex units for Fraser Capital located on West Oak Street, Grayson CAD ID 5850031 and 585003103, James Cornell Survey, Abstract 217, Grayson County, Texas. Mr. Noah, and then again, Corum, if we have questions for you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this case is the replat portion of the same property for Fraser Capital. I'll just remember, this is the location. We're at the southwest corner of Oak Street and 4th Street. Here's the aerial. The applicant is proposing on taking 8 lots of the original tract plat and combining them into 3 lots in order to build 3 duplexes if the zone is also approved by council. City staff, which includes myself and our city engineer, have reviewed the plat, and it complies with both of our zoning ordinance and our city adopted subdivision ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the plat for Fraser Capital LLC with the replat.
Applicant, anything to add? You had a great presentation, but anything to add specific to this?
Just grateful for the time.
All right. B&Z, any questions regarding this replat? No, just to confirm that it meets, again, the 50-foot plus.
Yes.
Assembly, anything?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion on agenda item number 5?
I will make a motion to approve agenda item number 5 as presented.
Do I have Second?
Who wants to-
Two sections.
I'll write down Ms. Enman, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's 4-0.
I'll forward that recommendation to the city council next week.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 6, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on replat of 2 lots into 1 in order to create space to build a fitness center located on 201 South Main Street, Grayson Cat ID 152001. L. Curley Survey, abstract 1414, Grayson County, Texas. John Carter. Mr. Noah, and if Mr. John has a presentation as well.
Okay, Mr. John does not have a presentation, but he's available for, Mr. John Carter, I should say.
Yes.
He is available for questions after the presentation. So this is also another replat request. The property is located at 201 South Main Street. It's adjacent to, that's a plan, 7th Street is not constructed at this time. The aerial does show a single-family home. The applicant has demolished that home with proper permits. The applicant and the city are discussing, have not brought it before council yet, of abandoning that of 7th Street. That would mean if council did approve that, 50% would go to the applicant, 50% would go to the other property owner on the other side. Again, it has not brought before council yet. So if that is successful, it would add to his property, and that's up to the city council to approve. Here's a copy of the plat. Should show 2 existing lots. The applicant's requesting to combine those lots and to, and just proposing we have not received, well, we are reviewing plans for the fitness center. But unfortunately, we'll move ahead with that without the binding. Staff as well, and also because our city engineer has reviewed this request with our subdivision ordinance and our zoning ordinance and our zoning ordinance. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the replat of Mr. John Carter. This concludes session for it. And Mr. Carter said it is available for questions.
Mr. John Carter, anything to add to that?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the young ladies, I didn't hear what you said, so
Okay.
I apologize.
Not a problem.
So, yeah, so as you know, we go through extensive reviews, not only with the city engineers and and all of the setbacks. We don't get to pick those. So all of our setbacks are picked by the engineers and by the codes of the city.
Yeah.
So, as the abandonment of 7th Street, as of right now, 7th Street's not there, it's a gravel driveway.
Right.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna build it for the city.
Okay.
So we're building it, it's gonna meet fire lanes, fire codes, it's gonna have a 24-foot fire lane itself.
Will it go through?
It doesn't, I don't own the property behind me.
I know you don't.
So I can't continue it on. But it will be there for if that person wants to, they can. But it's an abandonment, so at this point, we're gonna stop it at our end of our property. Now, you said something about the sewer and the water, I couldn't hear.
Yes.
Thoroughfare.
Yeah, okay. For the thoroughfare, by the way, see, it shows this is from our city, and it shows that you are in the thoroughfare. These here actually show your property in the thoroughfare. This is your property. This black is the thoroughfare. Yeah, okay. All right, let me back it up. This is all from the city website.
Sure.
Okay, this here shows that you are in the thoroughfare plan, okay? And with that said, this shows the further, it's a bigger map, okay? And it shows the thoroughfare plan. This one really shows it. See here? See the roads?
Yeah, that's Elm, this is Main
Yeah,
Street.
yeah, this is your property right here. See how far this comes in?
Well, yes, ma'am, and that's why the setbacks are set, and
What are your setbacks? You know?
The setbacks on the property?
Uh-huh.
We have 20-foot. Let me have my phone. There's also a 15-foot landscape buffer. Setbacks. I wasn't prepared for that question on the setbacks. I just was told, this is the site plan here. Here's Main Street, there's a brand new sidewalk, and you got a 15-foot setback for landscaping, then we have a 24-foot setback.
But nowhere in that does it show your setback for the thoroughfare plan.
Which means.
Unfortunately.
Which means that the city would be.
So I also own the property across the street.
I know you do.
At 202 West
You
Main.
got a nice place.
Yeah, and that's what we're gonna build across this one.
Yeah, I know. I've been over there.
So, yeah, ma'am, I just follow the rules of what the city tells me I can do.
Okay, well, the city council's not always right, so, and neither is P&Z. And that's the reason I do my research.
Well, I appreciate your research and I
So-
appreciate your time, but.
Thank you, Ms. Jean.
My question is, if this is already in the Grayson County,
Mhm.
why are you having to replat it?
Well, right now, because there's 2 lots.
No, it's 2 lots identified on
Well,
Grayson
if there's,
County.
every lot you purchase in Gunter, there's multiple lots. I own the property on 4th Street. It has 12 lots. I'm gonna have to replat it to 1 lot to build a building. So anytime there's multiple lots on one piece of property that you own, you have to replat it to get to 1 single lot to build your property, to build your building. And that's.
So what you're saying is that because it is identified as 2 plots,
It
it's 2
is.
lots.
I think it was lot 32 and
It's lot-
34,
yeah.
31 and 32. So she has got 2 lots.
Yeah.
For me to build, I have to have it put into 1 lot.
Yeah, well, it shows it with 1 ID number, and that's what's confusing.
Yeah, it is.
Now do you understand my reason for asking the
We
question?
appreciate your research, too. That's,
It's extensive.
I bet.
Thank you, Ms. Jean.
Yes, so it's really not a fitness center, it's a wellness center.
Apologize.
It's a wellness
I was
center.
excited for a gym.
It's a wellness center / gym, so but we're gonna call it a wellness center.
Sir, can I add one other thing?
You bet.
Are you aware that because a fitness center is not identified in our ordinance?
It's a wellness center.
Yes.
A wellness center?
Yeah, it's a wellness center, yes.
Okay, but it's not identified in the items, under C1 in our ordinance, meaning our ordinance has to be updated to include this.
Yeah, I'm a developer, I want to, just like Mr. Frazier, I know they do they do a fine job in what they build, and just like what you see across the street at 202.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've already noticed, we've already taken the house down.
Yes.
So we wanna do the same thing on all of Main Street. Unfortunately, some of these houses that need to be taken down are dangerous. And then we would like to build, and not only that what we're building, the next developer that comes in will build something similar to what we have.
Are you gonna get a special use permit?
By doing that, you can,
No.
since it's not in the ordinance, it allows you to do it, is all she's saying.
Yes.
No,
And that's what she told them.
Yeah, I don't
I
believe
know,
I
they're the ones
have.
that's supposed to let you know what you need, not me.
Yeah, I just go and follow the rules, I fill out the paperwork, and I have to pay, I pay the bills, and we get, and the engineers, tell us what to do, what we have to do. And we have a set of plans that we have to follow.
Ask that question. Ask the question.
I will, thank you so much.
Quorum, any questions for the applicant?
I think Ms. Jean handled it all.
Yes, I
Yes, she's-
Well, I'm gonna pick on it just a little bit. Shouldn't it be 201 West Main,
Yes, yes, sir, 201 West Main.
just that South Main on April? So I assumed it was just a typo error.
Yeah, it's West Main.
Okay.
I own the property across the street, 202 West Main.
And as you mentioned, in continuing on 7th, you're just gonna stop it at the end of your property.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And should the person behind you decide to continue
This,
that?
Gunter ISD owns the property behind it. And we have approached them to purchase it.
Mr. Kent, any other questions? Tim?
don't have any.
Okay, I have a motion on agenda item 6.
A motion to approve agenda item number 6 as presented.
Second.
Emily, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
I'll forward that recommendation to the city council next.
Thank you, Noah.
next week.
Agenda item number 7, we'll go off a little bit from protocol. I know you wanted to make a comment on agenda item number 7, so.
Actually, I'd rather wait when Brock does his presentation and ask questions then, if that's okay.
Okay. Agenda item number 7, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on amending the preliminary plat for the Bridges Phase 2A development. Turn the time over to Noah and to Centurion, should they have presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me just preface, this case did come before the Planning and Zoning Commission last month, September 14th. And, but I'm gonna go ahead and review it because some of you weren't here. And, so you can see that. So,
Thank you.
Location of this property, this is a request to amend the Bridges Phase 2A preliminary plat, which is located to the north of the Bridges subdivision. Here's an aerial also identifying the property, north of the subdivision. As a copy of the amended preliminary plats. This plat was originally, the preliminary plat was originally approved last April by Planning Commission and City Council. The reason why the applicant is coming back for this is because there is going to be a considerable widening of 121, and the applicant is requesting this to retrofit the subdivision, keep it the same number of lots, and is making this request to see if we can maintain the plat as it is, with some change. They're looking at moving the property, the whole subdivision south somewhat, hence an amendment to the preliminary plat. We have not gotten final plat on this, so we're still in the preliminary plat phase. Just like I said, on September 14th, 2023, the Planning and Zoning Commission met and chose to table the application for further information on the landscape buffer and wall. The applicant, Centurion American, has additional materials and information to present to the Planning and Zoning Commission this evening, and they have prepared a presentation. At this time, I'm sticking with our staff recommends approval to amend the preliminary plat for the Bridges Phase 2A. Both the city engineer and myself have reviewed the preliminary plat, and it does meet both the city zoning ordinance and the city adopted subdivision ordinance. And this time I'm going to turn the time over to Centurion American for their presentation. And I will switch presentation. This one.
Which one do you want first?
Let's do the pretext one first. And I can change it out over time.
Okay.
Those should pull down and pop up. There you go. If you wouldn't mind, you can kind of move it back towards, like here.
Yeah.
That way. That's perfect. Yes. Okay.
Is that good?
All right. My name is Brock Babb. I represent Centurion American. We're the owners and developers of the bridges. We purchased the bridges back in the day, finished community, and now we're moving on forward to the next phases in here. So we're in here today to hopefully get approval on the amended plat. The main delta on this is the TxDOT widening. So to be able to develop what we have and what we've planned for and what we've gone through a lot of processes on is to essentially, we're moving things to the south, but we're requesting that we have a removal of the 40-foot landscape buffer. It's not deleting landscaping entirely, it's just that buffer that's within there right now. We're looking to amend that to where we're deleting, and I'll explain more, it sounds bad when you just say delete, but for taking out that 40-foot landscape buffer.
No, you go back to the previous slide.
So just a quick timeline on it. Back in September of last year, we passed the development agreement. The items that, there's a ton in the development agreement that's transpired, but the main thing for our conversations is the lot sizes are not changing. And then it's the setbacks established on for that landscape buffer, as well as the traffic impact analysis and drainage study and what entails in that. So in March 13th, the TIA, the traffic impact analysis and the drainage study was approved. This is all stemmed through going through comments with Gunter, TxDOT, Cobb and Finley, who I believe is the reviewer for you. We had meetings at TxDOT, here in City Council, or City staff, and then obviously throughout emails with all parties, our engineer included. In April, the preliminary plat was approved with the 30-foot TxDOT right-of-way dedication. That is above and beyond what's currently right-of-way right now. It matches what is adjacent to all the right-of-way dedicated from the state side that backs it all the way to the Preston Crossing, or the Bridges Parkway entryway. In April, later in April, we received the approval for early grading. I'm glad we didn't start because it would have been even more of a fiasco now. And then on June 1st, TxDOT informed us of the right-of-way expansion needing additional right-of-way acreage than what was originally agreed on and what was originally on the approved plat and what was originally forecasted for us on the 121 expansion. This was the first time that we heard of the additional right-of-way, even after going to our TxDOT meeting at TxDOT's office on November 4th of 22. Throughout the entire process with the last administration and Ben Rodriguez, the old NOAA.
EDC.
So it was, there was a lot of communication and time and planning and meeting where this could have been brought to our attention, and it would have been appreciated because we wouldn't have gone forward with the original preliminary plat. We would have worked a different solution if we could.
Okay, Brian, who should have known that?
I mean,
TxDOT.
TxDOT should have told us when we were reviewing plans, and I do want to make this abundantly clear, it was not a NOAA in those situations. It was not Chief Gibson, it was not Angie, it was direct conversations with Rick Chafin and with Ben Rodriguez, who they should have informed me that, because it is a joint operation, TxDOT, Grayson, Gunter. Everyone, if they'd known about it and this is a real plan, they should have told me that.
They TxDOT?
They TxDOT, Gunter, and
Grayson.
Should have informed me, yes, sir. Because I don't know what they're doing, I can, not in my mind, I wish it was.
And Mr. Todd, I'll give you your 2 minutes, we'll let him finish, and then you can answer or ask your number of questions, and we'll make sure that the applicant can answer those.
Next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right, so the approved preliminary plat was for 140 50-foot rear entry lots. It's alley loaded. The original plan, and the next one, was a 70-foot of open space from the back of the curb when TxDOT originally had their right-of-way plan with that 30-foot right-of-way. So it's 30-foot right-of-way plus 40-foot landscape buffer. There are 2 easements located within that 40-foot landscape buffer. You got a water line easement, which kind of predicts what kind of trees you can put over on top of the pipe, concrete going on top of the pipe. And then also you've got the utility easement, which are the overhead power lines, which will be moving over adjusted like it is on the other side of the road. That also hinders what type of heights of plants plants that you, or trees that you can put in. They do allow you to have sidewalk in there, but, it does hinder, like I couldn't put a big 6 caliper inch tree 30 feet tall or right underneath the power line, just would not work.
I may have missed it. Well, what's the new right of way they're telling you now?
I can tell you that in a few slides.
Oh,
So this is one up version of this. You know, I can see this. I'll turn this towards them.
Yep.
If I can. Whoa. Right, Tanner.
I'll say it for you, amateur.
I had that coming. That is karma at its finest. So this is the original layout based off of the approved preliminary plat. You've got the 30-foot right-of-way dedication, which encumbers the expansion of what we were informed of the 121 right-of-way. In between the blue line and the black line here is the water line easement I was talking about, where Mustang has a water line, hydrants and everything, which conflicts with what trees I can put in that area. The utility easement below that from blue to here is the utility easement. That's where the overhead power lines will be adjusted to. Setback, because right now they're right where the shaded black line is. So whenever the roadway comes in, we're gonna move those over and kind of hurts what I can plant there. Next slide, please. Here's a closer up image of what I was talking about. Again, right of way, 30-foot dedication, which matches the section over here, 20-foot utility for the water line easement, and then 20-foot utility for the overhead power lines. And we were planning to have, because you can put sidewalks along 121 within the right-of-way, so we had it hugging the property line and within that additional 30-foot right-of-way, which would have matched TxDOT's plans for that. So this is what we are, sorry, I can't remember now. This is the proposed preliminary plat. It does not change any of the lot types, sizes, zoning, masonry requirements, nothing along of the product and inside of the subdivision within those perimeter walls is changing. It's just shifting. The open space originally on the last slide, like I told, was 70 foot from back of curb to the property line where the screening wall will be. With this TxDOT right of way and with us pushing down as much as we can, and with the full build out, it's at a 95 or 92 feet from back of curb at future build out with the new roadway wider than what it was originally. All of which is within the TxDOT right of way. I have been able in the past to get landscape easements from 5 to 6 feet from TxDOT and within their right of way to do trees, shrubs. I mean, it would be more of ornamental trees like crepe myrtles, the smaller ones that don't grow 30, 40 feet tall, all in the future. So this is a 20-foot or 22-foot additional open space separation on 121 from that screening wall to the back of curb of the right-of-way. Additionally, in TxDOT's plans, when widening this, they will be doing an 8-foot trail that matches kind of like what you see over there by La Cima. Up there, it's got the same sidewalk parameters there. It's the same build out essentially as that. It is a little egregious on TxDOT. I mean, I'll just be completely blunt with it. I mean, you can see when you go to La Cima, you got back of curb, you got like 90 feet till the property line. And all that's within there is one 8-foot sidewalk and a bar hitch. That can all be minimized, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Next slide, please. This is an overall rendering of what we are proposing, which includes the just all the changes. This is the full build out of what TxDOT plans to take from it. You can see it is a variable width, so there is like small footages that change. It goes from like 75, 92 back and forth. It's higher on this side, but it's got a 15-foot median, which will allow for future 10 lanes. And this will be the TxDOT sidewalk coming along in through here. And then you can see these are the same easements like we had on the last one. 20-foot utility water line easement and the 20-foot utility overhead easement. It's a minor shift. Now we shift it as much as we can. You can see it's really tight in here. But yes, this is one of the big changes on last week, and I believe it's on my next slides too, is, I'll get through that next, but this is the overall build out. It's, like I said, it's just a lot of open space that TxDOT really shouldn't need. I should be able to plant in there and do what I originally had. This is not my intention to do it. If I had it my way, I'd be moving dirt already. But TxDOT's a different beast, and it's a little bit hard for me to stand up against someone of that power. Next slide. This is just a closer up rendition, just like I explained on the last one. Just zooming in on the pictures so that y'all can see what it all entails. It still has the 92-foot green space you can see on the right-hand side. It's got the 2 easements, the sidewalk that'll be installed by TxDOT, and then it shows where our right-of-way was with that 30-foot.
How much does that do to the fire?
No worries, it happens to me.
Fire department? Yeah, on the hydrants, they're at the back of the houses across an alley and stuff. Will they be putting those up in front of the houses on the street then?
So those hydrants that'll be out there will exist for access off of 121. If there were any future fires off that, it's just a safety concern that it's an older code. Typically you don't have as much on a major thoroughfare like that, but that's for access on for any accidents or fires or grass fires along there. On our internal subdivision, we'll meet all state and local fire codes for hydrant spacing, and yeah, it'll be adequately sufficient. It'll meet all codes.
So they're 2 separate?
Yes, sir. We'll have our internal safety measurements. Exactly. All right, so here is, did you go to the next one, or did you skip one? Oh, okay. So, in here, and it's further in the spreadsheet, or in the presentation as well, we understand that, there's visual components that come with this. It's not just about putting homes up and, developers selling lots to builders. We've got to have the visual concept that is desirable. It helps us for sales. It helps the community. It's just better for everyone who already exists there. So these are elevation renderings of what we're proposing for the Preston Crossing entry.
So 121 Preston Crossing and then into the neighborhood.
Yes, back here. 121's here, and you're in. This will be our entry off of Preston Crossing, which that road leads all the way to the elementary schools. So this will be a very high traffic area in the next 14 months. Everyone's coming in for school. If we hit the next slide, please. All right, so new changes and enhancements for if we were to get this passed is you have more open space, a bigger delta between back of curb where all the noise traffic is to the back of the screening wall that we're putting in. In addition to that, you do have an alleyway about 15 feet, then you hit the rear property lines. And there you've got backyards, minimum setbacks of 25, 30 feet, and then you'll actually get to the structure. So when you do the math, the homes there are gonna be over 130 feet away from the future full build out of TxDOT. On the original agreement and per the development agreement, and per what's existing out at the bridges, we are approved for 6-foot to 8-foot board-on-board wood fencing with a cap, just like what exists out there today. With doing this, I understand, like I said, going back to the visibility and aesthetics of the community, instead of just lowering the landscape requirements because we're minimum space, and you've got the utility easement, you've got the overhead easement. We're enhancing the hardscapes of it predominantly for the most part. So instead of doing 6-foot board and board fencing, we're gonna do a masonry screening wall. That's gonna have columns every 150 feet and at your corners, wing clips that'll have potentially, the bridges at Preston Crossing along 121. But the biggest enhancement, because I have the most space to do so, is the entryway off of Preston Crossing, which I was saying that's gonna be a high trafficked area. A lot of people enter in off that instead of going all the way to the roundabout, unless you live off Fox Bend and that area. So what we're doing there is a stone tower, kind of trying to make it look like a clock tower feel or a bell tower feel, with a wing wall that says the bridges. We haven't come up with the exact name of this section of the bridges, but increasing it with stone walls there, brick screening walls along the back of the houses. So we're increasing, but we're not diminishing the enhancement that we're doing on 121. We still have the median split opening there, landscaping, because it's inside my tract, I have more room. That's where I'll have all my trees, another entry feature, but here is where we're really increasing it, because all we had originally was just a screen wall that said the bridges. Here, you'll get the tower, stone features, and a lot more landscape. We're keeping a lot of the trees on the south side of the main entry through the creekway, adding in trees, adding in ornamentals, shrubs, flowers, sidewalks, just really enhancing this side of the entry as much as we can. And then also the enhancement, like I talked about on the trail in 121, we had 3-foot sidewalk going along it, straight and narrow. TxDOT will have an 8-foot sidewalk going along 121. Next, please. New changes that are negatives, as it is an unfortunate negative. I've gone over it a few times here. I'm doing everything I can with that landscape buffer, but it is less landscaping. We're gonna have the shrubs, lawn fence lines, flowers, ornamental trees, but even with, it just won't be exactly what we had envisioned first. It won't have, instead of having one tree every 50 feet, depending on curvatures of everything, we might have one tree every 75 or 80 feet. It's not a huge diminish, but it is a diminish, which I don't want that to go unseen. I'm gonna be open front with it, that is a negative of this. But like I said, it's going through, there is limitations even if I didn't have, if I had that 40-foot landscape buffer there, I wouldn't be able to do as much as I would originally wanted. So, next. And took some of your questions and concerns about what we emailed with today, so I
Don't use my 2 minutes though.
Wouldn't dare. But like I said, we were exchanging emails and some other ones, so I did want to, just in case some residents had talked to y'all and brought up concerns, I want to try and address those beforehand. So one of the comments was approving along 121 will be bare with no landscaping and looking cheap. We believe that to be a false narrative. The landscaping will be installed there, large amounts of open space, higher than what it was. The entryway will still have the same enhancements that we originally planned along 121, and you'll actually have more enhancements on Preston. Screening walls are being enhanced from wood fencing and masonry requirements to create a more luxury look and feel that we're looking for here. Another one was along 121, homes will be looked crammed into a space. We recommend that to be false. This is further away from right-of-way. We are enhancing the hardscape in all sectors for the luxury feel, as well as landscaping along there, the busiest road in the new school, which is mainly what I'm talking about here on Preston. Changing this will cause more trees to be removed on the south side of the creek, which would affect the homes on Stonebridge. That is false. This change will not increase any number of trees being removed along their creek. The majority of those creeks are actually owned by the Stonebridge residents. Their property lines go much further than where their fence line actually ends. Additionally, most of the trees here are located within the creek and the floodplain, which we are limiting disturbance of that area to create a more natural look and feel of that. Next, please. So I did mention it in the last hearing, but this does unfortunately have ties and ramifications on this phase that unfortunately does affect current residents. So I just wanted to make sure I brought those to light again. If denial or any of this, if if I'm unable to get the variance and have this plat where I don't have the 40-foot landscape buffer, that shoves my entire development down an additional 40 feet than I already have pushed it down. That would, doing the study with Peloton, and I talked to the chief about this, is that would take my lot count from 140 and reduce it by, I think it's in the lower 40s or 50s, so over a third of my lots would be gone. On top of that, there are ties to the development agreement with these. We are obligated to do landscape enhancements all along bridges at Preston Crossing, trees, irrigation all along that road, all the way to the future phases in the back. That's all tied to phase 2A, which is this phase. The amenities center, that is tied directly towards phase 2. It has to be completed within 14 months of commencement of phase 2A. If I can't start this, that delays, unfortunately, the amenity center, which is also connected to the park, which is much needed in the community. The trails that are within there, and the playground and play areas. If I can't develop this next phase, unfortunately, it is tied to this phase, and I couldn't progress with moving on with that section. Q&A.
Okay. Well, John, if you want to take your 2 minutes real quick.
Yeah, Rock, stay here.
Well,
Can you bring back up that picture down here?
That one?
Keep going. Keep going. That's good. I live on Fox Bend Trace, which is the street on straight to the bottom.
Right.
And my neighbors all face that tree line. And the questions that I was asking Brock was, number one was, where are the trees that are gonna be removed along the tree line? So if you could point those out, that'd be kind of general area. I know you can't be specific.
So here's Fox Bend.
Yep.
Here's all my lots. This is where the park comes in with trails. I'm not disturbing, Tanner, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not disturbing this tree line in here.
You're not touching that tree line?
No.
That follows the creek, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
So you will still have that separation from these homes. You'll still have the live scenery. You'll still have the natural creek. We're not changing that. What we're doing is in this area, bringing up dirt, importing dirt to level the site, lowering certain sections, putting in retaining walls so that we stay out of there and we don't disturb that natural feel.
But the trees that you and I talked about that are gonna be removed are the ones that kind of go vertical up to 121?
So here, there's about 10 trees here.
Yeah.
These will be eradicated. These in here, no.
Okay.
So the homes on Stonebridge will still have the same trees behind it like they did when they bought it. They wanted privacy. This was always zoned for way worse product than this, and it was designed to be able to hide that product. We're still hiding that, but increasing the product.
The second question that Brock and I talked about was the people on my street were concerned that if we removed the setback, that it was gonna make phase 2 bridges look like the cheap seats when you run down 121. So you would see the big setbacks up by the estates and on Preston Crossing, I guess west side of that, and you'd get to this section, and then it would all of a sudden be basically, it would look like houses pushed up against the right of way.
So this screening wall is actually located further from 121 than those screening walls that are out there currently.
And you're also getting rid of the board on board and gonna go with
Masonry.
masonry.
Yes, sir. So it'll increase the luxury feel. It's not, we're trying to accommodate a bad situation with good remedies. So we're hoping to trade a little bit less landscaping, still getting landscaping, boxwoods, florals, ornamentals, but getting rid of board-on-board fencing, enhancing it with screening walls, but still keeping that main entry off 121 exactly how we have it with landscaping, screening, probably upgrade those with the stone walls for entries.
And your tower that you're planning to build, that is?
Right. It'll be in this corridor. All this is getting severely upgraded with landscaping. We're Okay.
So that's the entrance down there at the bottom?
Yeah, so we have a split entry here with monumentation, landscaping. This is all free reins for me. I can do not whatever I want. I have to meet your codes, but I can go above those codes and make it better than what we would be obligated to by him. So essentially here, whatever money that is saved from not having to do so much landscaping is going to stay in landscaping, but also go into hardscaping to increase the masonry and go overboard on this entry monument.
So that the main entrance off 121, that will be not to the level that it is off the main entrance to the bridges.
No,
to the right, but it'll be aesthetically.
Yes, stone entry monuments, big trees in the medians, florals, get that pop factor going.
Okay, thanks. My questions are answered.
Thank you, John. Can I ask one question? I may have misunderstood. Could you clarify for me? You said that the fire hydrants will be along 121. If you're putting a 6-foot masonry wall up there, those houses on that back area there, how are they gonna get their hoses and stuff over there? Or
They won't tie into those. These hydrants that are out here, those are serving the road, or if there's, over here, there's no fire hydrants. It's all on this side. So if there is a fire over here on one of these city structure buildings or that, they'll tie into these hydrants here. I'll have hydrants spread throughout the internal community.
so they would do on the inside? Okay, that clarified it. I was a little concerned with the other.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I said one, just for clarification purposes. So I'm assuming the solid black line there, next to the houses is the brick wall, correct?
Yes, sir.
So from the edge of that fencing to the roadway itself is 82 feet, is that what you said, or 92 feet?
From here to the back of curb, 92 feet.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Can you go 8 foot on the wall along there?
8 foot on the walls so I've got mow strips that have to go underneath it, and it's got foundations, piers. Going from 6 foot to 8 foot widens those piers to where I do not have room. If I have to do that, it would eat into the landscape because right behind it is right of way. So I wouldn't be able to push it towards the right of way because I'm not allowed to have any obstructions for right of way vehicles, fire, emergency. So it all go in towards the landscaping. That could eat up 20% of my landscape portion with concrete, which would.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way to get a little more of a sound barrier along there. And it would also address a little bit better people that are concerned about the houses looking scrunched together. You have less of a vision.
Yes, so with the sound barrier, I mean, like I was explaining before, like if we were to say we were developing it already and it was zoned, if I'm developing like I'm zoning right now, I'd have a 6 foot, maybe 8 foot board on board fence, and it'd be 22 feet closer to all that noise. So this is actually pushing it back. You have a less sound nuisance, and on top of that, you got the screening wall with the columns. Then you got an additional 15 feet of right of way, then another 6 foot screen wall for your backyard fencing, then 30 feet, then the actual structure. So it's 150 feet is quite the distance.
Hey, only question I have, what were the concerns last month that had us tabled in the first place, since I wasn't here, just to make sure those were
We
all
had no
addressed?
elevations.
Okay.
Like this one.
Okay.
We didn't have any renderings of what the fence would look like.
I tabled it because I wanted more information, graphics and stuff, and I also, can we go back to the time frame slide? I just felt that why was the purchase having to take the hit on something that wasn't our fault? Like, this had already been approved. Due diligence was not done. And I've done some research as far as what information has been out there with TxDOT. So you're saying in September of 2020, your development agreement passed by the city council. In March of, is that supposed to say April 13th, 2023, the preliminary plans approved?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't just 23.
That threw me off. Okay, so I have information from TxDOT. It's been on the website since The initial public meeting was held in 2020. TxDOT posted on June 2nd, 2022, prior to June 21st, 22nd public meeting, materials that were presented, the proposed TxDOT easement. So this has all been public knowledge since last summer.
In when they posted that, I did not own the property, so I was not alerted of any notifications of property changes, no notifications of TxDOT right-of-ways. I was not granted the actual evidence of, hey, this is alert. I mean,
But we all knew about the meeting and could have gone to the high school to see it.
did you get a notice or like a letter from TxDOT?
You can't claim you don't know. As a developer that's actively engaged in the business of purchasing property for future residential development and developing such property, one would reasonably expect that you would have an awareness and understanding of the key elements that would affect your development.
So if I had a preliminary plat that
But the
showed,
preliminary plat was done in March of this year.
right,
This was all put out last summer.
correct. If that's where you, if that's facts that I don't know because I didn't.
I also know that you had a meeting with Aaron Bloom in November of 2020, and he asked you,
November 4th of
2022, and he asked you if you had the correct information, and you said yes.
Alright, so I had a meeting with TxDOT, November 4th, 2022, 100% correct. At that moment, we were talking about a TIA, which was 121. We were discussing the drainage plan, which affects 121. And in that entire meeting, with my preliminary plat that I had drawn up, with every aspect of my site, and Tanner was in that meeting, not once did they comment on, hey, that 30-foot right-of-way dedication doesn't match our plans. I further went on after that, met with Ben Rodriguez, Rick Chafin with the city, who is a tri-party agreement. You got Grayson, you've got TxDOT, and you've got Gunter. All of these were reviewed by y'all's engineers, city staff, everyone. Not one person.
I questioned that as well. Like,
Right.
why didn't anyone catch it?
Right, they should. They're a party to it. But I believe.
I mean, I was able to do this research myself, just as, and I found the information. It was out there when the preliminary plat was done.
And I understand that. We, based off of information that we get a survey when we purchase the property. It shows right-of-way dedications. That right-of-way dedication shows 30 feet TxDOT future right-of-way. We run off that. We submit to city.
So you want to hold information? It was old. It was an old survey prior to the information being put out.
So we when we buy properties, we get surveyed by the property owner. They provide it to us. We update it based off of those parameters. It showed a 30-foot right-of-way dedication, which we adhered to. We submitted everything to Gunter. If we have right-of-way dedication for future expansion of TxDOT, and it's already in a survey showing that it is an existing dedication that needs to be adhered to, we're not gonna go checking TxDOT's expansions because it is on the documents. So in hindsight, would it have been absolutely perfect to raise flag that, hey, TxDOT, are you 100% confident this 30-foot is it? Then they award it? Yeah, that would have been great. But I did have numerous meetings with them. I did have emails expansions throughout with TxDOT, Aaron Bloom himself as well, Ben Rodriguez, Rick, and no one thought to mention or tell me that, hey, your 30-foot doesn't match, you need to change your plans.
Also, just wanted to point out, in the bridges agreement that was signed, it said in here, all right, and exhibit D 112, it says, as required by appendix 2 of the city's zoning ordinance, the 40-foot landscape buffer, exclusive of the future right-of-way, is required along FM 21 as shown in the diagram below. And then in 3.4, it says, as a consideration for the capital recovery fees being reduced and impact fees being waived for the property, the developer has consented and requested, and all parties agree that exhibit D, blah, 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 to apply to the property and voluntarily agrees to the burden of the property with their applicability. And to that, I understood meant, so you've agreed that you'll do it regardless of the bypass. And then here, basically saying, thank you, city, for doing this. I will take all the burdens moving forward as far as if anything comes up.
So with those development, like with that
And
development.
correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just
No, if that's
reading
what
and
it's-
trying to learn.
If that's what it says, that's what it says. I don't know if I back my hand or I can read it and see what it means, but, when we did agree to that, it was all submitted, 30-foot right-of-way for future dedication. At that moment, we planned for a 30-foot right-of-way with a 40-foot landscape buffer. It would not include that 30-foot, because then I would technically only have a 10-foot landscape buffer. So with that, we agreed to do 30-foot, which was all planned, and we wouldn't have come up with that either. Gunter would have mentioned that as well, plus a 40-foot landscape buffer. So yes, we did, that is right. But the looming factor is they knew, or were supposed to know, TxDOT knew, and Grayson knew, and if they saw these 30-foot future right-of-way expansions or dedications, they should have alerted me that, hey, that is not 30 foot, that needs to be 75 foot. And I would have then done my reconnaissance to see how I can remediate that. But now it's past that point.
Yeah.
I remember in April, when we were approving the preliminary plat, there were your understandings that you were having those discussions to essentially get turn lanes that would be sufficient for fire code police into that central entrance on both ways, on both sides, to be able to turn left into it, and then as you're coming in to get off the road and turn right into. And at that time, you weren't aware essentially that it was gonna be full on both lanes all the way in, and that it was gonna encroach. In fact, can you pull up the map again? And I don't know this to be certain, but it looks like the way, the one that shows the brick fence, so further in the,
It's an aerial, is
sorry,
that for?
go back. Or one more. It looks like that that plat is sitting on top of the existing main entrance, as you know, we refer to it as the roundabout entrance. That's, is that going to affect the entrance there? Are you going to match the aesthetics? Does that affect the water well and the little entry area there with the way that they're now pushing it back? Does that affect any of that?
It goes right through it.
100%. They have to demolish that entry feature.
Okay.
The positive news of that is if they have to take that and ruin or demolish a structure, they are supposed to pay me that value of that structure so that I can then enhance it.
Good thing inflation's had a curve. So essentially, just like you're doing on Preston Crossing at the main entrance, then that gives you the ability to then match the aesthetics of those two entrances with that tower fill, with the masonry and things like that.
And so when TxDOT comes through and barrels through and wipes this out, it's actually HOA property, so that reverts. So they'll have to pay for this destruction to the HOA. The HOA can then use those funds to increase this monument to match the aesthetics or go above and beyond. But since we can't do a big infrastructure here, but we're enhancing this area, I'm using all those capital to increase the monumentation here, so that no matter what, and I'm not diminishing this, you're gonna have a stone entry, it's gonna say the bridges, have columns, landscaping, everything. The primary focus is gonna be this because I have more room and I can make it bigger that matches the appeal of something like over there.
Emily made a comment a minute ago about the people at the bridges taking the hit.
Yeah.
What is show me the difference between prior and now, what are the hits?
The only hit that I'm seeing is I'm not gonna be able to do as much landscape here from the past to what I can do now. But my, kind of remedy for that is to increase all the landscaping over there and the hardscaping all along here to hopefully make up that difference for having less.
And I
landscaping.
appreciate that. Like, last week I felt like, or last time I felt like, oh,
I should have come more prepared.
you're just gonna take this away and we're just supposed to
I did
go
not.
with it and.
I think the masonry wall is fantastic.
Yeah, I think I think the brick wall is gonna make a big difference as far as the aesthetics and making it look a lot nicer. So pleased about that it's not just, oh, you don't have to do it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get out of my responsibilities to do the best thing for the homeowners. If I had it my way, get rid of that daggone roadway, let me do what I originally had, and I'd be perfectly fine with it.
I mean, my concern too was like, I thought we'd be closer. You're telling me that we're actually farther away. Like, I thought we were pushing the houses closer up, but you're telling me we're actually farther away.
From 121?
Yeah, from 121.
Yeah,
right?
it's further, so there's a lower noise yield with this plan.
And did I hear you say that the houses will are they gonna be farther, the backyards or the houses will be farther back than the ones on the other side?
Yes, ma'am. So we'll have here, and then additionally we'll have right-of-way for alley that can fit fire emergency vehicles. And then you've got the backyard fences, and then you've got the whole backyard, then the house. So the houses will sit back further than where they're at currently today. But I won't have that big berm.
Just to clarify on Emily's question, the masonry fence is gonna go along all the way down on 121.
On this section.
On this section.
Yeah, it's not gonna be taking out the wooden fences that exist on the estate side.
Right.
Putting screening,
But that masonry will go from the entrance all the way around and down to 121.
Right, so it'll, for all purposes here, the masonry will be around here, because this is where the creek is and trees, we don't wanna ruin that. It's gonna stretch here, come down, wing wall in with an entry feature, landscaping, and back to your stone wall in this area, screening all the way down, entry feature right there.
Just want to clarify, thanks.
And this is less houses than originally was planned, right? But not.
Not.
Original,
But
yeah.
yes, the original, zoning was 330 foot, zero lot line frontage.
Is this the same, so preliminary plat to this plat, same?
Exactly the same.
And again, to articulate the exception, if you will, is to remove that additional buffer because of the what TxDOT has done from a widening standpoint, but with the remedy as you've articulated.
I'm trying to do right by everyone out there as much as I can.
I like it better than the original.
There you go, I like this.
The masonry wall it's huge. I think board on board, I mean, no offense, Carter Ranch, at one point it looked brand new, and then eventually it stops looking brand new. It doesn't matter how nice it looks, and even the bridges, it's a beautiful community, and I think the board on board just, over time, it's gonna diminish wind, you name it. That masonry is massive. I think that's huge. So good on you guys for adding that in there.
And again, regarding the TxDOT coming in and taking out the water wheel, the value will be given to the HOA, and in this circumstance, we're seeing that as two separate from you.
Yeah, I do not control any finances. It is a separate company that we are not affiliated with.
The HOA?
Yeah, we do not own any ownership of that.
I thought you were on,
I'm on the board.
and you,
So we're
representative of.
So I'm on the board, but everything is controlled by Essex. I vote on things as proxy, but no finances. Everything will go towards the HOA of the bridges itself.
Okay.
But the issue on the water wheel only applies when TxDOT expands that.
Yes, sir.
So it stays until then.
And then in regards to, as you said, from the development agreement ties, that you got for the amenity center, the walking trail, the park, the playground and things like that, putting trees from the turnabout, the roundabout, all the way to face, call it 2B, and then on Preston Crossing as well, all the way to the elementary school?
Not all the way to the elementary school per the DA. The DA is only bridges at Preston Crossing. separate agreement because the elementary school is coming in. We need to make sure that the residents on the state side, that's kids aren't crossing, Preston crossing, then crossing back. So we're installing a sidewalk from the state side to the elementary school site. In regards to landscaping, I've been waiting, now that it's clear weather, I can actually start working on this. But I have sleeves already because we increased the state side entry monument with landscaping. So I installed irrigation there because there's no water all on Preston Crossing for irrigation taps. There's water, but not taps. So I've already got sleeves. Now that it's cool enough, I can start doing trees. I'm doing the Callaway entry, so I'm running landscape from the estate side all the way down, then crossing Preston Crossing to get into the Callaway entry. And while I'm doing that irrigation, or that water line to feed those trees, I'm putting heads down Preston Crossing on that side so that it can start growing. You can get fertilizer in the grass actually.
Okay. And then should this be recommended for approval tonight and then passed by city council, is that when your 14 months clock starts or when you start moving dirt?
When I start moving dirt. So what we'll do
What's that
is,
estimate time frame?
Well, no, isn't it when you pull the 50th? You have to start when you pull the 50th building permit, correct?
for the amenity center,
Yeah.
no, it's 12 months. I believe so. From what I've had for agreements with, or conversations with Rick Chafin and everyone, it's since I have.
Construction of the amenity center shall commence prior to the issuance of the 50th building permit for a single-family home within the property, not including the developed property, and shall be completed within 14 months after the commencement of construction.
All right, well, that's my deadline. I'm gonna beat that. So the plan is right now, because the park here already has roads, already has water, has everything I need, it's got land. My plan is when I start development of this pod, since I'm not, you can see all this is here, this is a lone little island, my plan is to start that when I start this. So that by the time I'm done with this, or by the time I'm done with this is done. These homeowners may have already had a month or two in the pool, and these guys will start enjoying it. So the plan is to move on that while I'm doing construction.
And equally with the trees down both
Yes.
roads? Okay. Kent, any further questions?
I have no questions.
Yes. Do you have questions?
I'd like to make a comment, if you don't mind. This is in relation to both this one and 8. I'm not going into 8 till you get to it. But what I'd like to know is this. You have the Taylor track coming up. Okay, the city manager's briefing from August 7th, 2002. Mustang, the bridges, and Taylor track are all connected by the developer. For one to work, all three must work. Just to let you know, there's a PID on Taylor. There's a PID on this one. For how long, I do not know. But for the one for Palmer, 36 years for the tours, 55% of the ad valorem taxes on 682 residents. And how many residents will you have in there?
In Taylor track, or in this one, 140.
And you have a tourist to last for how long?
So I have a TERS on this section and the existing bridges.
You have 1 and 2.
Yeah, this TERS and that, it's all.
How long is it for?
I believe we renewed it to 30, so it was 100% for 36 years, and we were a certain.
So that means the ad valorem taxes on all of these houses would be going to the builder.
Well, it's not that anymore. It was reworked.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the development agreement, they switched.
That's where
for
all this
phase
started
2,
coming from.
That it will start at 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jean.
So there's no, this is 100%?
It is no longer, no. It was reworked to 50%. What was originally left, help me out here, there was 30-something years remaining on it.
Yeah, so what we had was, this was in the TERS section, this is all in the TERS section, and another pod, I believe it's 2B, was in the TERS section. It was originally like a 36 or 40-year terms at 100% to the developer. It was then negotiated to increase the size here, decrease the size on the bottom side of the bridges, and zoning changes with a pit on the Taylor tract. And it went from 100% proceeds to 50% proceeds.
So in essence, we had another 30-something years.
Yeah.
We added 2 more years to the total, but took it from 100 down to 50. So we're at least getting something out of it now. And it changed the bottom lots, the south lots, what was that, 3 from 30 acre to quarter acre.
Yeah.
Lots. And paved the way for this 2A development.
Okay. Board, any further questions?
Can I see the rendering of the, I just can't see very well back here. No, well, hold on. It's crazy. Okay, so this is the proposed one. Can you go back to the current? Can you go to the entry?
Oh, you're talking about down here.
The picture, yeah, that one. So, this is Preston Crossing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you turn in. Are you going to do any, all right, so, this is this?
Yes, ma'am.
You might have already gone over it, but what's happening to the little Preston? What are you doing?
That'll be demolished because eventually their turn lane's gonna go there.
Okay.
So that'll be taken out.
Will there be anything?
We have a clip on that corner along there. We'll probably do, since it's having brick, we'll probably do a stone with 2 columns with whatever the name of this section will be right there. Yes, ma'am. So that when people come in, they can see that clip.
So it'll be for this section. So the estate side, well, right now it just said,
Yeah, so this one will say,
The existing one, the tiny one.
yeah, will be gone.
Yeah.
so that sign is about right here. So what we'll put here is a clip that'll say to purchase the Preston Crossing.
Okay, and in this case, the specific. Okay.
Creekside, what are you gonna call it, Creekside, is that what you said?
I don't know, I may let you name it.
Not me, don't put that on me.
Okay. And then that's another entrance here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, to confirm, we're getting, just so I know, I'm gonna write it down. We're getting longer space, or farther space, we're getting the brick wall, we're getting a trail that's wider
By text dot.
by text dot,
Doing the
but
eight
more
foot.
than what
5 feet
you were
wide.
gonna do.
Yes, ma'am.
Not as tall trees, but that doesn't mean
Doesn't mean no trees.
no trees.
Yep.
Increased, just overall signage and stuff. Okay. I think so.
All right, on agenda item number 7, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion to approve item number 7 as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Four.
Okay, I'll forward that recommendation, so you have.
Thank you. Moving to agenda item number 8, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the preliminary plat for the proposed subdivision, Palmer Lakes, located at the southeast corner of Westland Road and Little Elm Creek Road, and within the city of ETJ. Again, off script, we we didn't have a sign-up sheet, so Jeannie, I know you wanted to take 2 minutes here for number 8. And Jerry, okay.
You guys are gonna be tired with me.
No, we're not. We appreciate your diligence.
No. Yeah,
All right, I started your 2 minutes.
okay, I got 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Yeah.
Don,
It won't take that long.
give her your 2 minutes.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, all right, there you go.
According to this documents, the city entered into an agreement with Palmer Lakes. If so, why didn't the P&Z, why didn't it go to the P&Z from 2022 to 2023? Prior to going to the city council and executive session in 2023, which was no action on the minutes. It was discussed, though. Another hidden factor, okay? Now, the city manager's report brief to the city council people only, dated August 7th, 2022. Taylor Track is going to the P&Z for recommendation in August. Date to be determined. You never got it. I know. I checked all of your agendas. We just received the development agreement and need to conduct our due diligence. Going to the city council for consideration. Then, as I stated a minute ago, Mustang, the bridges, and Taylor Track are all connected by the developer. For one to work, all three must work. And this is not me saying this. This is Rick saying this. He's saying it to the city council in private. The trailer track is 900 acres outside the city. I would recommend that we provide a tourist and a PID to entice them into the city so we can influence the development to be more favorable to the city. This man did not like muds. He only likes tourists. And he states so. He also said, I had to reroute TxDOT alignment of the 121 route west of 289. TxDOT will not be happy. But otherwise, this development cannot occur. And Gunter loses all of its leverage with the developer, Centurion American. The developer has, moving on, second one. October 20th, 2022, possible consideration revise Taylor Track. Moving on, according to the city manager's brief, January 8th, 2023, Taylor Track. I have been able to make additional progress on the Palmer Ranch, as you know. I am persistent. I believe we have punched as hard as we can. It's not ideal, but it's something to approve as we've given minimum leverage. 36 years, tours paid for, another has 55% of the tours, meaning that the ad valorem taxes on the 682 homes that they want to build, we only get 45% of the taxes. The rest of it goes to the builders. And that's not for 1 year, but 36 years. It's also a PID. It will annex into the city within 3 years and meet subdivision requirements. And this is estimated to be presented to the city council in February of 2023. As we know, it didn't happen. Thank you.
Can I have 15 seconds?
Oh, no, phone said no, I'm kidding. Yes.
My concern is the fact that we're doing for every one of these developments a TERS. That means every bit of our ad valorem taxes are being set up for anywhere from 30 to 50 years. Those ad valorem taxes is what we're supposed to use in order to build our fire department and our police department to support the increased number of houses coming in on that. If we keep giving away our money to every one of these developers who are out to make money, what are we doing to our city?
Thank you, Don. Jerry?
Jerry Perry, 1081 Pike Road. Just a couple questions. First, I want to clarify, Palmer Lakes and Taylor Ranch, same thing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You correct? Okay. So I understand, I guess there was the development agreement was signed by the city council and Centurion Homes in 5/11/23. From what I'm seeing, it says that in that development agreement that the property is going to be annexed within 3 years, but specifically it's number one, when the first of these three occur, issuance of the first PID bonds, adoption of an assessment ordinance, or the second anniversary of the effective date. Is the effective date the 5/1/23? I guess that's the first question. Do you know that? If that's what effective date is? I'm assuming effective date is the date that they signed the agreement, correct? Yes. Okay. So I just want to clarify that. And then there's also a notation in tonight's agenda. There's, I guess, a future bypass that's supposed to transverse this property. But no, you stated that that has no bearing on this appeal or this approval. And could you just explain why?
And I'll go into that in my staff report.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jerry. Anyone else like to make comment on agenda item number 8? Okay, thank you. I'll turn the time over to Noah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a preliminary plat case for Palmer Lakes. The applicant's Centurion American. They're also, they have hired the engineer KFM Engineering and Design. As you can see, this is the location of the property. It is in the ETJ, and it's surrounded by the city, but it is not up in the city limits. We have a development agreement that within 3 years they're required to annex into the city. Since they are in the ETJ, we are the planning authority.
Your time's up.
Sorry, guys. Here's an aerial location of the property. You show it as the southwest of the downtown. And this is an oversized, so the applicant is bringing this forth as a preliminary plat. If approved, they would come back with each section to do a final plat. Which one of those additional sections are separate, but this is an overall preliminary plat for the whole subdivision. Let's talk about some planned right-of-ways, and the applicant and I have talked about this. There is in the county thoroughfare plan, it identifies a bypass route for Highway 121 that may cross the subject parcel. There's also a planned county road that may also cross the subject parcel from the other direction. Land for the future right-of-way for both these roads has not been acquired either by TxDOT or Grayson County, and therefore at this time it does not prevent the city, that's outside our scope, it doesn't prevent the city from reviewing and recommending approval of this plat. Again, this is at the preliminary plat stage. Those things might change. As far as I've talked with the applicant, they have not been approached by TxDOT or Grayson County for those roads yet. And so that shouldn't stop it from moving forward. The property is located out, like I said, it's outside the city limits. It's also in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. Lot sizes range from 6,000 square feet to a maximum of 23,413 square feet. And this preliminary plat has been reviewed by our engineering staff and myself. And it does meet the adopted city subdivision ordinance. So therefore, staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat for Palmer Lake subdivision. The applicant is here as well, and if you have questions for them as well.
Okay. Brock, any comments on this?
If you have any questions,
Have you looked up the proposed routes?
I did learn from mistake. So we have sent in all of our plans into TxDOT. They have sent us in their 3 proposals for their right-of-way hopes. We have accommodated to 2 of the routes. They're the northern routes. Our
Red line, green line, blue line.
You've got, obviously, we accommodate that route.
Just north of the project.
This route is the southernmost intrusive, and it is the closest to our lots. This route is what we are hoping to get accomplished. It is on the far northern side. It hugs the.
So it give you.
Can you speak a little louder so everybody can hear?
So-
Sorry about that.
So just to clarify, TxDOT's map you get online, they've got 3 proposed routes, and the red one, the north one, doesn't come anywhere close. The green one would essentially be on the very north side of the proposed preliminary plat, and the blue one, you'd have to do some figuring.
Right, so the current parameters is they've sent in 3 options. Like I said, one does not touch our property. The second one, which is if they do come onto our property, this is what we've planned for and what we've already hoping for. It makes the most sense. If y'all have gone down that road, you'll notice on Little Elm Creek, there are huge transmission lines. That's where one of the route is running adjacent to it. It makes
Huge what?
those huge transmission
Electrical
overhead lines.
pole lines.
It makes the most sense to run our street along those instead of creating what they call an accretion, which is just a gap between 2 unusable spaces. So what we're proposing, because they have not solidified their routes, they have not approached us for the public hearing to say this is the route and come to us to acquire that property. We don't know when this roadway is gonna expand. It could be 10 years from now. So me as a property owner, I can't wait for TxDOT to do what they're supposed to do, I guess. I can't wait 10 years to develop my property in hopes that they go on one section. I've got to develop my property, which is best for the property, and we have done that. We are also donating land to Mustang for utilities, such as overhead water towers, for wastewater stations. We've eradicated them from lots, kept them in one certain area along this area, or along Little Elm Creek, so that it's not within the community. It has easy access for fire, emergency vehicles, and for Mustang to obtain. We are meeting all standards. We are meeting the landscape requirements. We are doing the off-site roadways adjacent to so we're surrounded by 3 roads. You got Westman, Foy Wallace, and Little Elm Creek. All those roads are, garbage right now, county maintained, obviously. We're increasing those to concrete by phase. So phase 1 on this preliminary plat will be Little Elm Creek, spanning all the way to approximately the crossing where it currently floods, all the way on the south, Foy Wallace, all the way to the center of the dam. So those options will have concrete. The next phase is along Westman, so we'll do the rest of Foy Wallace all the way up to Westman in the Splinter. Third and final stage will be up Westman to Little Elm Creek and back over to where we finished on the first. We are paying park fees here. We are about 80% done with our financial stack package. They won't let us proceed on to the next stages until we get preliminary plat approval. And I believe we have submitted our construction plans, which are in review based off. It'll kick off once this either passes or denies. We'll go forward from there. We do have 2 builders under contract for the 50s and the 80s. It is Beezer Homes and First Texas Homes. Neither of these builders are Mattamy or related to Mattamy. They are reputable companies. We use them quite often. They're great builders. They build bigger homes. They will be meeting all the mason requirements that are presented by Gunter. And we do have an amenity center located within phase 1. And we have 15 100-foot lots that we're kind of holding back on. We're not putting them under contract just yet. We're looking to hopefully get custom home builders to do those 15 so that, and that's at the main gate of our subdivision by our amenity center, so it's really the wow factor we're looking for those 100-footers. But yes, here to get the plat approved. This does least desirable option does cut through the lots, but like I said, this thing hasn't been acquired. They haven't presented us to do this, so we're moving forward with development. This will also give them option 2, which is the best tract, not only for us, but for the Taylor family next door, because it does raise the roadway up towards that property line, or those overhead power lines, and eliminates them from cutting it in half, which I believe Prestonwood owns the property underneath Taylor adjacent to ours. It's about 80 acres for a future church. I'm pretty sure that third option, the least desirable option in the south, is pretty close to that property as well. So.
Okay. And again, you're being proactive and you've already submitted this information that you're almost encouraging them to take option 2 because of the way that you designed your plat.
Yes, and they actually did send us those maps. They actually stemmed from the bridges when all this eradicated. They're like, hey, don't forget, we got these 3 options. We're like, of course. So we've sent them our plans, and my engineer's here. That's right, correct?
Yes, sir.
So sent them those. Were just kind of bad way of saying forcing their hand to the better option.
Okay. That's not a bad thing. All right, questions?
What if they choose the other one?
If they choose the other one, then at that point, we will have already been, preliminary plat, construction plans already in review. We've already got our financials stacked. They're not making their decision in the next 6 months. They have to go through all their hearing processes and everything, and that's like a 4 or 5 month timeline. So at that point, I'll already be moving dirt. I will be putting public utilities in to force them up. If they do say, I don't care, I don't want that, which would make no sense, they would then have to pay for all those lots in that section. They'd have to pay for us to redesign that section for us to have entry monuments off of those roadways. But the sooner we get that home in, like first homes, because homes will be starting construction in hopefully 14 months, which would mean we'd be annexing in the next 3 or 4 months as well. It kind of eliminates that option and really does force their hand for that northern tract, which it makes, even on top of the power pole lines there, there's a commercial tract right next to it. Nothing is better for commercial than roadways. That would increase that property as well. So, and we have been in conversations with Gunter too. I mean, we're not trying to spearhead this. We're being open comms on it. Much better than we were on the last one.
Run down a list of a lot of things that are happening within the neighborhood. Are you having conversations with Gunter P&Z as well? Is there going to be a plat for elementary to accommodate those homes, those rooftops?
So in here, there is not plans for an ISD site. We're actually working on another property on the south. Hopefully we put it under contract. We have talked to the ISD about putting 2 elementary school sites on that one, but that's either here or there. This one is, we wanted to get the amenity center in phase 1. We have, I don't know if you're familiar with the property at all, but there's currently a 45 acre lake basically sitting in the middle of it. It's where all that big watershed comes in. We're actually getting into that lake. We're pulling up the ground even further to make it a deeper pond. We're expanding the walls, and we're using all that dirt to fill up our lots so that we can raise up the site and get above the SCS. Is it SCS or SWCS?
SCS, wrong.
SCS. Yeah, because it is a soil conservation site for that pond. We've already got approvals on all our plans and what to do in that pond. So making it deeper, making it wider, building up everything outside it so that we can have that 2 feet above the dam elevation, which is the highest point that it can get, so that our homes are outside the flood. But we're expanding that pond, and you've got huge open spaces in here. I believe, what's our open space requirement in that pond? Is it like 100 acres?
Something like that. Yeah, it's a significant portion of the park. I can pull the acreage in a second.
So around 100 acres, probably more. We have trails going through that floodplain that can get you from the northwest corner of Westman all the way down to the southeast corner of Fort Wallace. And it gets you Westman, sidewalks all around. You got trails running through the entire floodplain, landscaping within the floodplain, preservation of the creeks and the trees that are on the northern end of the property. But big thing is that we have open spaces pocketed throughout here. You've got, every pod has its own little park, open spaces with sidewalks, with benches. The first phase, which is on this preliminary plat, is huge open space in the center of all the 50s to break them up, so it's not just home, home, home. You've got big parks in there, so it doesn't feel so tight. But it's connectivity. You can get from that trail, that open space, walk through here, get onto the floodplain, go all the way up north, go all the way up south. It's all connected, which is awesome. That's what we're looking for.
Okay. You mentioned paying park fees. Once the annexation takes place, does that kick in impact fees? Or is that not part of the?
So with, since water and wastewater are all with Mustang, those impact fees go to them for their permit fees. For roadway improvements, since we're paying for all the exterior roadways to enhance them, that was kind of like the negating factor. You don't have to pay roadway impact fees as long as you do 2-lane concrete all the way adjacent to your property.
Kent, any questions?
No, I'm not sure. The comments about the, earlier, and I maybe got them confused, where we needed to be in there with you guys and with Mustang and Gunter Mustang and you guys. I was under the belief that when we gave up our stuff to Mustang, we were out of that business now. So we're
Yeah,
not out
That's
of it.
correct.
It was only just,
But we still are maybe going to help on the,
We hadn't sold our CCNs at the time that comment was made.
so y'all didn't have water and wastewater capabilities to serve the site when y'all did own the operations. So we brought in Mustang as a party on that development agreement. But now, since y'all sold all y'all's water and wastewater rights to Mustang, y'all are just associated through this development as a city standard for public services and properties and taxes and whatnot.
okay, but we're not gonna have to,
And neighborhood.
so the taxes off of these rooftops should come 100% to Gunter?
No, sir. So,
45%.
yeah, 45%.
So that's why I feel like we're still paying.
So
What am I missing here?
originally, when this site, before we did the development agreement, it was ETJ, and instead of us doing what other developers may do by saying, thank you, we'll pay you $1,500 a lot for you to provide water, or to provide fire and EMS services, which isn't nearly enough for y'all to pay for fire and emergency services. We'll pay you that. We'll keep it in the county. We're gonna do a MUD where taxes rotate. It goes off based off your home values. So you're, like right now, people in MUD's not gonna be happy because their home values just keep skyrocketing. So instead of keeping it in the county, lower regulations, less home quality, and variable taxes, we bring it into the city. We prefer to have a PID to allow us to do more infrastructure, bringing it, so it opens up corridors to where you typically wouldn't have without a PID. So the PID allows us to get a tract like Taylor Tract, who's a little bit out of the corridor of growth. We get PID financing to help bring that corridor to that tract. And in doing so, we bringing it into the city. Instead of y'all getting 0% on any taxes and it's 100% county, we bring it in, we get reimbursed through way of TERS. So it's splitting the TERS so that you now get property taxes, otherwise you wouldn't. And then we are getting a portion of that TERS so that we can be reimbursed for the expenses that we incurred up front. Because make no mistake, all this infrastructure that we're putting on, it does not cover anywhere near what we are getting with the PID. For instance, there's
So
one.
what's Mustang putting into it?
Mustang will be allowing us to use their water and getting free land for services and then getting fees from those services. So.
Who owns the system after it's completed?
Mustang.
So they get the system for free?
They pay for the actual like water tower construction and the wastewater plant, which is a huge fee. I think Salina's building a wastewater plant right now for 19 million. It's a little bit bigger than this one, but yeah, they're gonna be collecting all these fees for managing all the lines, for building those, wastewater treatment plant and the, overhead water station.
And no issue concern for supply?
No, sir. So, we've been in lots of communication with Mustang. The plan is, since the downtown plant here is pretty tight on capacity, we're putting a station here at Palmer to where it will then alleviate some of the pressure on the north downtown plant as well. So it'll all be reverted to downtown, but there's an expansion going to the Bridges station.
Who's doing it?
Mustang.
And you said that you guys are gonna be putting in towers, or it was more along the lines of you're giving them sites to put their facilities that they need to continue to maintain and provide?
So we'd be bringing the infrastructure to that site. We would donate or give that land to Mustang for them to go vertical with the tower and with the wastewater treatment plant, because those are large expenses that are affected by cost, not just by our track, but from everything around it. So that's their burden, but we have to bring the water and the actual pipe itself to them. We have to pay for engineering and construction. They have to pay for the construction of those plants.
So they've been guaranteed capacity for both water and sewer from Mustang?
Yes.
Can we talk about the school? You brought up,
Yeah.
like, that's a valid concern, like, where will these children go to school? When these development agreements are made, they're made between the city, right?
And we are getting off topic.
It's off topic.
We are completely off topic. I've sat here about as long as I can. We are here for the preliminary plat, and I'm sorry, with all due respect, what y'all are already talking about, that ship sailed.
Yeah,
with the
that's what I was trying to
with
get
the
at. That's all
development
in the
agreement.
development
That
agreement.
is conversations that y'all are more welcome to call and speak with Noah
Yeah.
at a later time.
And I just make just one quick comment, Gunter ISD, they're the ones in charge to find where they wanna build, so they're their own taxing entity, and they can approach people like Centurion Americans and say, do you have a
Would you like
parcel
to do
available, or in the future, we'd like to talk.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's one of their main responsibilities.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher, thank you. Have any further?
No,
Let me ask
thank you.
one more question then. The P&Z then is not involved with the money, true or false?
Our purview is exactly what's on the agenda. Our purview is the preliminary plat.
Correct. But I didn't see the development agreement, did I? Should that come to P&Z?
Yeah. That's usually goes straight to council.
It's part of our
It's administration council.
I think it's helpful as P&Z members to have knowledge of the agreements, and that's what I tried to do today by reading and getting some of those documents. So I think moving forward, maybe we wouldn't ask these questions if we read those agreements
And
and
luckily, this
had some knowledge.
NRC manager's here, so he's taking notes, so I think that, I agree.
Yeah, I think it would be very helpful for information, but understanding as P and Z, we get to hold everyone to the letter of the law. And we don't get involved in the agreements side of things. Any further questions?
No.
Tim?
No, I don't have any questions.
I motion to approve.
And we're approving the preliminary plat.
That's correct. I'll second your motion to approve.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can I ask a quick question?
And I'll forward that recommendation to council next week.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes, Tom.
Can you put up the aerial view of the plat again? Next one. The black line, it's running all the way through around that, what is that?
That is, so the city, the ETJ, no, I'm sorry, that's, question, let me ask, let me think about that.
Okay, if that's the ETJ, that answers my question there. My concern was that was just more of their property, we'd be looking at a phase 3, 4, 5.
No.
In terms of, yeah, I see what you're talking about now, okay.
The outer portion is the ETJ.
You're right,
Not
and the red
outer.
portion is city limits.
Yeah, so, okay, that's all I need.
Okay, thank you everyone for tonight's meeting.